Walaikum salam.
The lesson that I have today is really, it's called the religion, the divisions amongst believers. The point I want to establish, however, is that the first viewpoint that I'm going to illustrate is a viewpoint of the outer world, how others see the division amongst religions. And then I'm going to tell you why their view is distorted. A common claim made by many is that religion causes evil, suffering, division, and war. For example, at the Moat debate in Toronto last November, Christopher Higgins argued this very point against Tony Blair. Religion, Higgins claimed, causes sectarianism, division, strife, disagreement, war, poverty, and a host of social ills. In his best-selling book, God is Not Great, Higgins even wrote that religion poisons everything. How might a Christian respond? Well, first, I had to point out a major problem with Higgins' argument. You could remove the word religion from this statement. Religion poisons everything. Replace it with many words like politics, for example. Politics causes division, bloodshed, argument, and war. Politics poisons everything. Or what about money? Money causes crime, resentment, bloodshed, division, and poverty. Money poisons everything. You see, the problem is that, like most those like Christopher Higgins have built into their worldview an idea that men are essentially good and that the world is getting better, or a kind of naive utopianism. But the world isn't like that. Rather, it seems to be the case that whatever man desire for, they use it to cause damage. That applies to money, politics, governance, science, and religion. The problem is not with religion or politics. The problem is not out there somewhere. The problem lies within us, in the human heart. When I use the word human, it's specific because the noun is man, and humans are different from man. That's why human has a prefix on it. And that prefix is hue, which means color. So understand that when people say humans, they're not speaking of man. Man is the second people. We call them white people. So understand that there's a difference between the people of hue and the non-people of hue. As a Russian novelist and political commentator who survived the Russian gulags and wrote it with amazing insight into the human condition, once famously put, the dividing line between good and evil runs right through the middle of the human heart. I'm going to segue over into something called the Ma'at. Religion is the foundation, or the belief system in faith or God is the foundation of every other thought that you should generate. So as you deal with money, as you deal with politics, as you deal with governance, relationship, any of those things, your emphasis should be your faith, your divine understanding. Now, let's separate divine understanding from understanding. Understanding is what you get in your intellectual world. That's called your education. And as we all know, we don't get divine education. We rarely get education. So in your education, your understanding, you are understanding what the conscious has understood about your environment. It has labeled hot and cold, light and dark, wet and dry. Your consciousness has labeled that, and that is your understanding. Your divine understanding is what makes that consciousness happen. So when you speak, words are energy. And the energy, when focused upon, becomes matter. So we create as we speak. Some of us speak in a way that brings about calamity and strife in our world. And then we wonder why we don't have luck. Well, I don't really believe in luck. I believe that opportunity and preparation meet. There's a good time after that. So understand that your divine understanding is your intuition. It is what cannot lead you astray, but it must follow your consciousness. So if your language is filled with if, might, but, should, when I get to it, maybe, shoulda, what's all the rest of them? If your could, if your life is full of that language, so is the quality of your energy. As a man thinketh, so shall he be it. Our slogan is abracadabra, and it means I create as I speak. So when we talk about religion as the world sees it, it is totally different from the understanding of Muhammad. Because we're talking about the legions of Ra. And we're not talking about the sectarianism and division of the world as religion. So even though we may call ourselves a religion, then we're not a religion, but we are a religion. So we understand that we're operating from a higher state of consciousness than some of the things I'll be illustrating in this. But the Ma'at, I'll read it here so you understand this. Ma'at represents the ethical and moral principles that every Kemetic Egyptian citizen was expected to follow throughout their daily lives. Let me say that again. Ma'at represents the ethical and moral principle that every Kemetic Egyptian citizen was expected to follow throughout their daily lives. So if you're following an ethical and moral precedent, how do you make wrong decisions about money, politics, government? You don't. But when you are away from it, which we're going to address, it says, Ma'at as a principle was formed to meet the complex needs of the emergent Kemetic state that embraced the diverse peoples with conflicting interests. The development of such rules sought to avert chaos and became the basis of Egyptian law. From an early period, the king would describe himself as Lord of Ma'at, who decreed with his mouth that Ma'at he conceived in his heart. So, as you become Fahamist, and I believe I am a Fahamist, I am still a student of Fahamist. So, if we say, what are you? I say, I'm a Fahamist. I don't say I'm a Fahami, because I'm still believing I'm developing. The significance of Ma'at developed to the point that it embraced all aspects of existence, including basic equilibrium of the universe, the relationship between constituent parts, the cycle of seasons, the heavenly movements, religious observations, fair dealings, honesty, truthfulness, social interactions. Now, this first part that I read seems to suffer from what Ma'at saw, doesn't it? Because they say that all these other things can be called divisions. But the divisions come from spiritual first. Everything that we do at one point was a thought or spiritual or energy. So the thought precedes the matter. So if you have a foundation that eliminates the negativity in your thought, then you don't have the problem that this world sees to be so complex. Their foundation is flawed because they turned away from the light and the way. progress it a little bit. When we talk about the story of Adam, or Atum, the ancient one, that he surrendered his position and went on his way with a group of people, and they became named as the Hebrew, he who changed sides. They left the light and the way, thereby inducing confusion. So understand that we are the downtrodden children of ancient Atum and modern Adam, which we call the Hebrew. But a Hebrew is those who turned away. If you were a Cardinal and you became a Royal fan, you were a Hebrew. Understand the context? So one who changed sides. They call them traitors. What the black man needs as an answer to violence and injustice, poverty and pain, is not a clever philosophy, not a religious system, not a new politic, not more money, and not more education. None of these will fundamentally change anything. Rather, it means individual transformation back to the ways of their most ancient ancestors, a radical transformation of the human heart. Only the true knowledge of self offers that possibility if we're willing to surrender our lives to our ancient ancestors and their God of Amun, the Ra. This cannot be a tiptoe dipping. This must be a subversion. That means you must be in deep. If you really want to understand the spiritualism of this, then you must cherish this like a drowning man cherishes his next breath above water. This will work for you when you have it as your primary source of function. All your thoughts, behaviors, and action choices come out of this thing we call Fahamin. I often find it interesting to point out to my atheist friends that Jesus himself was also anti-religion. As we know that Yeshua, Asia, whatever you want to call it, because J did not have a J sound, it had a Y sound. And it was only when the Greeks mixed Zeus with Yeezy that they got Jesus. So understand that the story of Jesus is a metaphor about astrological bodies that they changed to meet the needs of them developing their country. So I don't hold grievance to a man who's trying to uplift his country because I'm in that shoe right now. So we all are. So I often find it interesting to point out that the atheist of Jesus was not anti-religious. He regularly clashed with religious leaders of that day, the Pharisees, because he saw empty religion as powerless, demanding, and enslaving. Ultimately, stance led to his crucifixion. Now, in the Bible, you can find that Jesus referred to, the person they call Jesus, Yeshua, referred to, I am the light and the way. Let's change it a little bit. I represent the understanding of the light and the way. And I'm here to deliver you back to that. But then another verse that says, my people who are called by my name. What name is that? What was the first human called? I will create you in my likeness and image. If God created you, what are you? Gods and goddesses. So the people who are called by my name are the first humans who were called gods and goddesses. If you stiff-necked people would repent your sins and turn away from your wicked ways, I will heal thee and thy land. We, the stiff-necked African-American Negro, who believe that we are still in Sunday school. This is just a deviation from going to church. No, it's not. This is a total coming out. I want to lay at your foot every responsibility that there is. I put every possible circumstance in front of you. And if you use the Ma'at and the Muhammad, you will excel past all of them. But if you are tiptoeing because you are unsure, that's all right. It's all right to be unsure when you are doing something new. But it is not all right to stay unsure once you have been given the light and the way. You must now show evidence that you are no longer unsure by a level of commitment never seen before. How else can we witness you coming into the light? Because you say so. Yeah, do we fix our lips to say many things? No, we do. But see, we will watch your deeds and your actions. And when your deeds and your actions are noble and worthy, we will give you accolades of that. But you will hear nothing if you're not. And Christians, of course, cannot talk about suffering and evil, pain, and violence without talking about examples of Jesus, one whom violence was done. His example has inspired millions, if not billions, of Christians to live sacrificially, love their neighbor, to engage in peacemaking. However, there are still many Christians whom just leave church and find a call to another human. Hey, nigga, and many others as well. The edifice, the building that we are in, is not Muhammad. There is no building. There is no edifice. There is nothing large enough to contain us but the universe. This is the ultimate knowledge that unity is the way. It is the only way for the humans, who are 98% of the population of the world, to get control of the 8%. Because 8% now control our life. Yet we complain about them controlling it. Well, what are you doing? Has your life changed significantly enough to impact an awakening on another? Has anyone ever asked you about the curiousness of your behavior and your way you act? Has anyone ever inquired, why are you different? If they haven't, it's because you are not. Only your love of your own ancient God consciousness offers the transformative power that makes this kind of choice possible. We are not the man. We are the human, the man of color, both male and female, the Alpha and the Omega. That means we're the beginning of knowledge and we're the end of knowledge. We started the word and we completed it. Our language has 296 characters plus, is it plus 7? Rasul, is it plus times 7? Now, I want you to just grasp this for a moment. The English alphabet is 26 characters. Our alphabet is 296 times 7. What kind of intellect do you have to digest that? What kind of child, what kind of 5-year-old can speak that language? Wow. What a brilliant child. Religion creates divisions among believers of all acts of worship and praise. Believers of all religion, belief system, and philosophy that have participants in it are human. People of color can only become God-like by declaring we must unite across all divisions and barriers, by declaring we shall cause no harm to another human, a man of color. The first thing we must do, we must declare that we shall cause no harm. You shall not be the impetus of harm to another human. You cannot castigate, you cannot speak poorly, you cannot do anything that causes another harm. When we do this, we are starting something that the world will see. Because you have to speak it from your mouth to everybody you see. I shall cause you no harm, blessed day. That's going to be my new mantra. I shall cause you no harm, blessed day. I shall cause you no harm, blessed day. We must call this into reality. Abracadabra. It is our diligence and vigilance that will cause this to be. No one else. We are at the throne of the change, of the coming of God. You are getting ready to witness the return of the Amun. When we, as a human, collectively, consciously, decide for 1 year that we will do no harm, and it happens, the world will forever be changed and will be free of our chains. Because they will recognize us as gods and goddesses, just as Pharaoh understood Yahweh. You understand? When you understand that you have a God of your own and you're willing to leave, now I will accept you. Not that we need acceptance, but we do need deliverance. We become gods and goddesses again when we return to our common ancestry, when we correct the wrong turn, ancient Adam and current history Adam. It is said that this turning away from the light and the way we call then and now Ma'at is the creation of mortal sin. Ma'at is not lost. 22 affirmations are there. The 10 Commandments are in it. It says, Moses was taught the 5 books of the Torah by the gods. Who are the people called God? Us. We didn't say creator. We said God. That's us. There is nobody on earth who has a concept of religion or God that does not steal from us. Consciously or unconsciously. Is it not reasonable when one realizes an error in their ancient history has caused them to be called the downtrodden descendants of Adam, it is time to correct the wrong turn. If you say, Barack, go in the kitchen, make a right turn, right? As soon as you, and I do this, and I keep going this way, when do I realize I haven't got to my destination? I'm on the wrong way. So our objective is we need to turn away. And this European system is deep in us. You might as well admit it. It's deep. It's deep in me. It's deep. And until you do this every day, the 42 affirmations of Ma'at, you do them in the morning and you do them at night. Then you become that. This is how we become gods and goddesses. But you can't come to gods and goddesses clinging to your Europeanness. Sorry. Truth is the truth. No, I'm not sorry. The truth is the truth. And the Bible states in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 7:14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will, from heaven, I will forgive them and heal their land. Seek my face. If I look at all of of you, I see the face of my God.
I do.
You are God. God is because you are because God is, therefore God is in you. So understand that in order for us to get past these divisions, we can no longer separate ourselves as being lofty and superior to other persons who are dealing with their faith. Their faith is not the question. Their faith is pure because they love that which is in them. But their facts are flawed. Their facts are flawed, and justly so. Because if you ever try to trace your history by going to a dictionary or Wikipedia, you'll see they go to Greek and Roman and quit like that was the end of the world. See, no one can deal with 350 million years of existence but the human. People of color. Our history is validated. 350 million old, and we wasn't in a jungle. We didn't have no tails. We didn't have no fur. We looked just like you brothers look now in the dark. There's one brother, you can find him on the internet. I forgot what country he's from Africa, but he's now in the United States. He had a DNA run on him, and his DNA is 350 million years old. So that means they said whoever is 350 million years old look just like this today. So understand that the Crusades, 300 years of war, drove us from the oceans and the rivers into the jungles. We weren't in the jungles. We were ocean goers. We were river people. Understand? This thing they show you on television is a forest. Running around with spirit. We got to that out of survival. When somebody comes to you with all the European might, and they concentrate on doing nothing but killing humans, they recognize their power was in the fact that they were man, and they could easily identify one another. So it was easy killing the enemy. You were black and brown. So the man came in 300 years under the banner of Christianity, the Catholic Church, the Universal Church, after they put all black people out. They came down and took the wealth and the intelligence of Africa. And here we're talking about Jesus help me. I say Jesus help me, and I'm the slave owner, and you say Jesus help me. Will it stop me from whipping you? No, it won't. Because if I said, I'm going to rob, help me kill this slave master. That's going to happen. I'm going to stop him from beating me. But praying to somebody else to do that? No. No. You have dominion over this earth. Praying for things that you can get yourself is childish at best, if not foolish. You complain about your health. Lord, help me fix my arthritis. Oh, my diabetes. Oh, read a darn book. Health is saying, I gave you fruits and vegetables and vines and bark for your medicine. But you steady want to do what you want to do because the European told you it's the way to do it. Still stuck on milk? We didn't have any cows. We didn't have cows. We had goats. Cows came with man, so the milk drinkers. Goat milk. Goat milk will not give you indigestion. It will not give you sinusitis. It will not give you arthritis. But if I understand your clinging, because your family's in it. Chronicles 2:1-15. And an angel unto the church of the Laodiceans wrote, these things said, the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of creation. Does it not say in your law that ye are God? Why are you acting like slaves? Because you don't believe it. What does it take? How many people shall it take for the Creator to send you from amongst you before you accept His truth? Paul Nathaniel Johnson is a series of saints and prophets who have come to us in all forms and shapes. But we continuously deny that we are not in the light and the way. In addition to the importance of the Ma'at, several other principles within the Egyptian law were essential, including adherence to tradition as opposed to change. Once we get in our tradition, which has lasted us hundreds of millions of years, we don't have to worry about the change. It's the Hebrew we have to worry about, who believes he knows better. He believes he knows better. But how many years has it been proven that he does not? At least 6,000. Has he brought harm to some people? Wow. How about the human? The importance of rhetorical skill, the significance of achieving impartiality and social justice. In one Middle Kingdom, in 2062 to 1664 BC, text, the Creator declares, I made every man like his fellow. What does that mean? I made every man like his fellow. That means that you should not compare yourself to another. You are just like everybody else. In fact, you are a flower, like called human, like flowers in the garden. All flowers look different, but all flowers are the same within. They're filled with, what's that green stuff? Chlorophyll, the blood of life. We are all the same inside, but because of God's greatness, joy, and mercy, He shows you the complexity of His imagination by creating all these various features amongst us. But the one thing that He did make sure is that we understood that the human was His man, and the man is our man. We created this beast. In the Egyptian mind, Ma'at bound all things together in an indestructible unity. The universe, the natural world, the state, the individuals were seen as part of a wider order generated by A'at. A passage instruction of Ptah Hotep presents Ma'at as follows. Ma'at is good and worth is lasting. It is not distributed since, it has not been distributed since the day of the Creator. Whereas who transgresses His ordinance is punished. It lies a path in front even of him who knows nothing. He who knows nothing, he has no education, but he understands Ma'at. He understands the path of the way. It is true that evil may gain wealth, but the strength of truth is that it lasts. A man can say, it was the property of my father, the Lord inherited. There is little surviving literature that describes the practice of the Egyptian law. Ma'at was the spirit in which justice was applied rather than detailed legalistic exposition and rules. Ma'at represents the normal and basic values that form the backdrop of the application of justice that had been carried out in the spirit of truth and fairness from the 5th dynasty onward, the visa, that means the person is instituted. Responsible justice was called the priest of Ma'at. In later periods, judges were images of Ma'at, the feather. To change slave masters is not freedom. Don't believe that coming to Muhammad, you automatically become free. Because it is a maturation development process. So you come in, and we know this, at your animalistic state. You're at your lowest level. However, if you truly stay in the process of personal development, you will rise to your rightful position as a noble ancestor and a God. What will demonstrate that is not your wanting it, but your actions. Your actions will demonstrate that. Do you really cherish this small group is larger than it was in January? And as I forecast in January, it's going to be larger to the point that we have an issue with occupancy. What shall we do? It's upon us, and it's here. 1919 is around the corner. Prophet said there will be a major issue. 2019. 2019 is, to me, real close, because when you pass 70, move real fast. You have a leap year. You be leaping through a year. What? September? I thought it was just July. So understand that we are in that spot where you have to decide, are you Hebrew or not? Are you still clinging to your world? Are you able to feel unsure? Are you able to feel vulnerable? Are you able to feel unknowledgeable to gain the insight that you need to grow? Because you have to be able to step out that thing they call faith, which really has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the reality of science, that we are in a revolving universe, and as it was, so shall it be. So we turn 360 degrees. We are both negative and positive polarity. We're both male and female. We're both light and dark. We're all the polarities of the universe. So it makes common sense that it's going to return. What shall you send out to be returned unto you? Because it is coming back to you. And just because it takes 365 days for us to go around our rotation does not mean that what you give out won't come back to you tomorrow. It does not mean that. It just means that in the order of things, what goes out must come around. Despite similarities stemming from the same subject matter, histories and persons mentioned, the Bible and Quran differ widely on fundamental concepts of faith, practice, and religion. These are two reasons. Now, Islam. Two different things. When the blessed Prophet Muhammad came to the Berber tribes to bring peace and unity from the fighting and reigning that they were doing, he needed a light and a way. So he went to the foot of the light and the way. That was our country. We are the originators of peace. Islam. The light and the way, the Ma'at. That's us. understand that, blessed be the prophet, this was for his people. And it is a good thing for his people. But he also forecast that as soon as he passed, they will be heard. What do we have today? We have ISIS saying, let's go back. And we say, ooh, they're horrible people. I'm not Arabic. I can't say they're horrible. I can say some of the things that they do are kind of despicable and the method that they use. But can I say to a man, don't go back to your origin? That'd be telling me I shouldn't say the same thing for myself, shouldn't I? So don't get twisted because the man don't like the human. All he wants them to do is get out of his country. That's what he's been saying all along. Leave my country alone. Same thing we've been saying. In the case of both books, or both may contain an error, cannot be termed reliable or trustworthy. People write stuff. Some people write stuff that they know about. Other people write stuff that they heard about. And some people write about what they feel about. So, to say that a book is infallible, let's look at the oldest writings. The Ma'at predates all of this, whether it be Christian, Jew, Islam, Buddha, Shiva, Rava, Riva, any of them. All that they say about God comes from us. There is no concept of the universe, of worship, of adulation, of God within, without us. The division is that they don't understand that they are the division amongst the believers. Our job is to convince them that Muhammad is the umbrella under which they can come together in common respect of one another. Everybody has to believe the same God. It's not necessary if you understand that all of us are talking about the same ancient concept. Got a high head here. It says, representatives of both faiths have set out to prove their point. But since everyone is already committed to a definitive conviction, objectivity is hardly possible. Can you really convince a convinced person of Christianity that they should become a Muhammad? No, you can't. The only thing that you can do is show them the facts and truth. The facts and truth will impact them. They may understand the fact and truth, but because of their relation and association, they don't reveal it to others. Because it's comfortable where they are. It's comfortable where they are. You know, people that don't serve high people, I, as a Bahamas, most probably am most objective towards Islam and Christianity, as I know they both came from ancient Yemen and Africa. I understand the origin of them all. What is required is that we realize that the human, the man of color, we are one. And we do not have to wrangle over who's God and boss of everybody else. That is not one of our issues to get into with others of other faiths and beliefs. If you're wrangling with somebody about telling them that they're wrong, you don't understand the message. The message is to invite them in to a divine understanding of their position relative to the origin of their belief system. That make sense? Okay. It is not necessary. Religion is a state of mind and consciousness. Divine understanding will unite the states of mind. Not just your intellectual consciousness. It is your perfect subconsciousness, where the intuition resides, and its only job is to maintain. The subconscious only job is to maintain that which was perfectly created. The subconscious cannot question the conscious. It can only manifest the conscious thoughts. Are you thinking about our future? Do you see our future clearly? Do you see us in mass numbers? How many people do we need? We need 9 million believers. That's all we need. We need 9 million believers. 9 million run the world. It's called 20%. 20% of the people of the earth run this earth. So if we want to run this earth, there's 45 million of us. We need 9 million of us. Now you have a target. Now you have a target. So we need a lot of land. So this being true, think what we can say and do that will cause the whole world to stop and pay tribute to the coming forth of the Spirit of God, of the human, of the black man. Once the human commits to bring no harm to another human, man of color, the subconscious must create the energy field, and the focus of the human on this commitment shall transform energy into matter, and it will be our reality. You are in the flow of a new creation. Some of us, possibly maybe me, would not be here when it appears. But I know Uncle will be. And I need him to pay attention, because responsibility will be on you one day. See, you're a child amongst men, but first you are a man, a human, and responsibility will be yours. Once the human commits to bring no harm to another human, the subconscious must create the field and focus of the human on this commitment shall transform energy into matter, and it shall be our reality. Within the framework of these studies, we shall look at the scriptural and historical facts that establish and will not engage in philosophical attacks on one another. We do not argue about theological concepts either. Both desire rather to discuss those that can be checked, tested, and verified by anyone, anywhere, provided one is able to measure, return to the sources of these above mentioned stuff. If there's no use in arguing about stuff that's factual, you just present the facts and let the person deal with it. You can't change anyone. You can't, I can't, we can't change anyone. The word can change anybody. So you have to give them the resources to go to the words that impact them. Can they deny the word? Yes. Deny me, I shall deny you. There is no religion that falls outside the first concept of ancestral worship created by the Son God and witnessed by Amen, the true and faithful witness of the creation of God. The sin of Adam, the traditional Christian teaching, original sin is a result of Adam and Eve's disobedience to God when they ate the forbidden fruit of the garden. That's a allegory story. Understand, you need to really get to understand language. You need to understand definitions. You need to become wordsmiths. You need to really understand how this thing works, so that you can have the power in your words that enter another and cause them to pause, cause them to be curious, cause them to crave to know. That is the magic that we have by selecting the correct words that we use to get those to listen. You can't change anybody, but the word can change. What state of mind are you from? Muslim state, Christian state, Jewish state, Hindu state, Buddhist state, Methodist state, Baptist state, territory, Jehovah's Witness, any of those. We're here to bring you into the fold of the believers, the light and the way. I am here. I am the light and the way. I am the light and the way. But not necessarily Barack, but who Barack is speaking in behalf of. I am the light and the way. Because I want you to understand this clearly, that you are responsible for the proliferation of Muhammad. If you ask what I am, then I must say I am Islam. I am Israel. I am Jesus. I am Brahma. I am Rama. I'm Buddha. I am all of these and more. I am Muhammad. I understand them all because we are the ancient humans whom witnessed the creation of God. Understand your position. Just because you walk these streets, don't let you off. People don't know who you are. People walk down the street don't know that you're Muhammad. Why don't they know? People that you associate don't know you're Muhammad. Why don't they know? Because you act just like them. You're one of them. You can't convince anybody that you're enlightened. Because you act just like those who are not. We are at the precipice of the great turn, a return to our ancient glorious life and the way. We must return, we must live the Ma'at, 24/7, 366 days. Your faith is not the question, however. The so-called facts from our oppressors are, for sure, not facts, but plagiarized accounts of the first people's systems and how they use them against us. We, the human, people of color, black and brown, have been around for 350 million years, not in jungles, but along the seashores and rivers. Our language is 296 characters, plotted the earth, maps. We plotted the earth, maps the seas, developed the medicine herbs, developed into our promise that is to be God and goddesses, and we created man in our image. So don't hate man. We created man. Understand man. Come together and put man in his place. First thing, I shall cause no harm. As a believer, I shall unite under the divine understanding that we are one, and that we believe in one, and the one is all of all, the Amun Ra. All noble ancestors shall be respected and assisted whenever possible. We must re-educate ourselves to the true story, and pass it along to our children. We must follow the dietary laws. We each must be great examples of all that we encounter. We must seek excellence in all we do in the service of others. All is possible because Jesus answered them. Is it not written in your law that you are gods? Am I not telling you that this is possible for you if you just step forward and become? Be unsure, but be active. Become active enough till you become sure. And our world is promised to us. The Prophet Rasul says it so. I take it as so. Salam.
For Muhammad above all.
Muhammad above all.
Lillahi Ra, Anath the word, Anath the spirit, Anath the power. O God of Kim and Ptah, make me like the conqueror Ori and the mighty Noon. Give me the wisdom of Thoth and the strength of Heel, the good God, the Master. Pour on me the spirit of life, and make me a mighty son of Ra, son of the Son eternal. Give me the milk of life from the holy breast of the good goddess, and under their care I should grow into strength and beauty. Make me a gift of life and light, a Sion of Ptah, beloved of Amun-Ra, and happiness eternal in the paradise of God. O God of Kim and Ptah, light our way by the lamp of Mentu, and give us the peace and the rest of Tun. O Allah, thou art the creator, forgiver, protector, and provider for men, Lord of love and banisher of evil. Thy will is done in all the earth and throughout all the heavens. Thou art Muhammad, in whose keeping is the eternal power, the eternal kingdom, and the eternal glory, as declared by Amen. Make our unborn as one of the gods, carried in the bosom of Neith. O Muhammad, thy wings of protection are outstretched over us by night and by day, as declared by Amen. Muhammad above all. Amen. Kim Su announces creative intelligence.
A keeping secret wisdom. Ramadan the world, and life for my God. Masahani Kutu, divine giver of life and life. Moyan Yasur Akin, divine faithfulness and beauty of action.
Sabura, patient and resourceful, Sheikh Abdullah Ra, son of the Sun Eternal.
Bakamalika, spirit of intelligence.
Faithful and true.
Kashu,
Kashu,
Mishuba,
Mishuba,
Lao Kunsu,
Lao Kunsu,
Muhammad above all.
Muhammad above all.
Amen.
Amen.